We did it. We've teamed up, and together we've created something special. We are the Idaho Underground Sports Network, and we're changing the game. We're covering Idaho high school sports in a way that you haven't seen before. Together, we'll be providing weekly breakdowns and recaps while helping uncover Idaho's top talents at a deeper level. Trust us, you want to be part of this. Boise Sports Talk, EBC Media, and the Gametime Guru bring you Gem Session. Let's get to work. All right, let's do this thing, guys. Welcome to another episode of Gem Session, brought to you by the Idaho Underground Sports Network. I am Shane Larson, also known as the Gametime Guru, alongside AJ Niebergall from EBC Media, Ty Spangenberg from Boise Sports Talk, and you might recognize somebody else who's on the show. This is Lane, and he's coming from Cherry Filmz. You might have seen him on Instagram. We're going to be talking about everything he's got going on and what the expansion of the network is and what's happening, what to expect moving forward. Real quick housekeeping items. Make sure you are following us on Instagram at Idaho Underground Sports. That's our bread and butter is Instagram. We are also on Twitter. So if you guys haven't followed us on Twitter, do that as well. We're on each platform. Follow it at ID Underground SN on Twitter, at Idaho Underground Sports on Instagram. That's where we're bringing the coverage. This podcast supplements the page that we provide the coverage on. All right. Another thing, a little item of business is Eagle Ridge Apparel. We got to give a shout out to them. They're always getting us hooked up with the merchandise. And I want to tell you guys, if you are a local business and you have a brand, whatever it may be, you're an entrepreneur, you want to get some merch for your brand, you're a business, you want to rep it out, go get a hold of Eagle Ridge Apparel. They do great work. We stand by them and the work that they do. They're fantastic to work with. And if you don't know their contact information, seriously, hit one of us up and we will get you the contact information because we've got the connection with the people who run Eagle Ridge Apparel. So shout out to Josh Swinson and his entire family for getting that whole thing done for us. And they've been helping us out the entire season. So that is the beginning. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So as you guys know, we've talked about this before. Football was our kind of launch of the network, obviously, but our bread and butter is actually basketball. And it started last year when Ty and AJ teamed up to start providing some basketball coverage for the SIC and the rest of Idaho last year. And they started doing it in a way that hadn't been done before. And now, after having all the reception that we've gotten for the football season, we're getting into basketball, which is our bread and butter. And this is why we're excited. We don't want you guys to drop off just because football season's over. No. We're just ramping stuff up again for a new sport and more content to show you guys. Football was great. Basketball is going to be great. And we've got a lot of stuff coming. Before we can get to that, though, I want to introduce Cherry Filmz. Okay, is this how we do your Instagram handle, Cherry, at the bottom?
Nope,
there?
That's it.
All right. So for those who are listening here on the YouTube channel, first off, if you're not subscribed to our channel and you're just listening to this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Okay, that's first things first. Okay, then go follow Cherry Filmz. You're going to be glad you did. Okay, content creation at its finest. Cherry, talk to us about your business, what you've been doing, and what to expect. What you're bringing to the Idaho Underground Sports Network with your skill set. Like, what do you do on your channel? Like, what have you been doing, and why? So people know why we've been like wanting to get in contact with you and bring you on.
All right, so I'm a local athlete. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior at Rocky Mountain, and I started content creation 11 or 12 weeks ago. My first day on the job, I got to meet BST and AJ, so I was pretty excited about that. I went right up to him and introduced myself and said, I'm going to the top, so let's go together. And it's been pretty much all gas, no brakes since then. I've been doing, every weekend that I'm in town, I've been doing a new video. So I'm pretty excited to team up with you guys to push out some content.
Let's go, man. So real quick, I have a question for you, and I won't get into too many details, but I do want to let the listeners know, when you do a video and they see the edits that come up on there, like, for example, you put a reel out there from the state championship game this last Friday, 2 interceptions, and, it's a quick, probably 15 to 30-second clip, but how long does that take you to edit that footage?
Just a quick reel, probably take me an hour to 2 hours. There goes Ty. I would say a complete game edit. The first one I did took 16 hours, and that was at the beginning of the season when I did the Mountain View versus Meridian one. I've gotten it down to about 3 hours. So it's just it takes me longest going through and finding all the clips that I want to use. I put that in a timeline, and that's about 10 minutes. After the intro, I get it down to about 5 minutes, and then I put the game clips together, and that's about 5 minutes, and then I get it down to about 1 minute and 30.
Dang, dude, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work in that. That's so sick though. And how do you get the perfect angle for what you're doing? You told me once when we were at a game, you're like, it's all about the angle. Like
Yeah.
what goes behind the scenes in your head? Like when you're about to go to a game, like state championship, how do you even know what angles you want to get? What have you found to be the most effective?
Right. So I grew up watching Ryan and Diego film. So I was super excited to pick up the camera and start to recreate some of their videos. And one of the things that another one of my good friends that films, Cade Gallegos, told me, he said, steal all the ideas you can, but then come up with some of your own. So I stole as many angles as I could from the GOATs like Cade and Ryan and Diego, and then I put my own spin on it. So I'm an athlete, and I ask the athlete. That's what's special about me is I like to ask the athletes and get them involved. You know, what angles do you want to see? What are you looking for in the video? And a lot of content is up and down this way, and the athletes kind of like it more landscape, so you can see the play develop, and you can see lead blockers, or somebody setting up a screen. Just little tips and tricks like that make the video that much better and more special for the athlete. I think I really want to push out content that athletes and people that are my age like, and their parents can also enjoy. So
That's sick, man. That's super cool. So we won't give away all the secrets. That's your knowledge to have and to share with the rest of the world. But hopefully, those who are listening will see what you're bringing to the table with the sports coverage. If you guys haven't already followed him, you're going to be amazed when you do. He brings some serious talent to the table. It's amazing, and it makes it fun. Yeah, it makes it fun for the athletes. It makes it fun for the fans, like ourselves, like AJ, myself, and Ty. We love that stuff. So, Cherry, we're excited to have you, man. Excited that you're on here with us. Dude, you're a stud. So everyone, Ty's sitting here in the background. We're about to pull Ty back onto the channel. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Ty wrap up the Rigby and Highland State Championship for us. Now, if for any reason Ty slips off due to technical difficulties, we'll go into our basketball coverage, kind of share with you what's going to be happening because this is a Thanksgiving Day special. I'll have AJ basically run that down as I just squeaked like a 16-year-old girl again. So we'll have AJ run that down for you if Ty happens to get pulled off. But we want to hear it from Ty. And Cherry, if you wouldn't mind staying with us, because if Ty happens to get pulled off, you were at the game too, so we have a little bit of a perspective. But you two were the only ones there, and I think you deserve to be able to talk about it. So Ty, I'm going to bring you on. We're going to talk about that Rigby Highland State Championship that was at Holt Arena, and get the 5-minute rundown from you guys. So there he is. Let's see if we can get him for the full time. Cross our fingers. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm on an episode of Jerry Springer getting back from backstage. Glad to be back. Great to see you all. We had some fun, didn't we, Cherry Filmz?
It was a lot of fun.
Sir. Yes, sir. Really fun atmosphere out there in East Idaho. I'd never been to Holt Arena before. The East Idaho faithful showed up and showed out. They filled it up, not an empty seat in the arena. We'd kind of talked about it before the game that it kind of felt like it was Rigby's year, right? Well, we saw that on full display last Friday night. Tiger and the Trojans came in and really controlled the game from start to finish. Highland was unable to move the ball, and now they have a really interesting offense. It can get moving, it can do some really good things, but matchup wise, it just favored Rigby's defense, and they were able to really keep Highland at bay for most of the game. Final score was 27-12. I think that it pretty accurately depicts the game, but I think that Rigby may have even controlled it more than that might show. Highland got a late touchdown, a late safety that kind of made it look nice, but they missed a big field goal early in the first half that kind of Cherry messaged me during, and he's like, "Oh, that was big." And, it's just 3 points, but when you rely on Ian Hershey throughout the playoffs and, just the timing of that miss, was that going to change the game for them? No, but it was a big momentum shift for Highland. I think it brought their energy down. And, Tiger came out in full display. He was running all over the place, slinging the ball all over the place. A big shout out to Taylor Freeman. wide receiver for Rigby. He was injured in their first playoff game, little cheap shot at the end of the game. He comes into this game, didn't play last week, comes into this game with a cast on his arm, and he's making plays offensively, catching touchdowns in the state championship with a cast on his arm. I mean, that's a movie right there.
And we're gonna get that touchdown. We're gonna get the reel of that touchdown here pretty soon.
Love it. I can't wait. That's I'm about to put out some highlights as well, and that's one of my favorite plays from the entire season. So that was a special moment to be a part of. And Freeman was making plays on defense as well. Laying the wood, breaking up passes. That's a leader for this team. Hopefully, now that we're moving into basketball, hopefully he can get on the hardwood and can be out there. But ultimately, this was the Tiger show through and through. He was just out there having fun. And that's what stood out to me. This is the biggest stage of his high school career, of any of these guys' high school career, and he's out there having fun. And I think that that's an important lesson for really any athlete, that you don't forget to have fun, because when you're having fun, you're playing well, and that's just contagious. So big shout out to number 19 for leading his guys and, keeping the spirits high all game long. All in all, really fun game to be at. Shout out to the Highland Rams. I mean, they had a great postseason, a great season in general. Fun team to watch, great group of guys that, a lot of good things are coming for them outside of their high school careers. So hats off to them, hats off to the Rigby Trojans and their coaching staff as well. Younger staff, which I was kind of surprised by, but a lot of high energy guys that kept their boys in line all season. So hats off to both of those teams.
Congrats, Rigby, on that. That was a interesting game, and I thought you guys did a fantastic job with the coverage as we were back here in the Treasure Valley watching the highlights all Friday night. Absolutely fantastic. We noticed other people were trying to follow suit, which is awesome. We are, I guess you could call it, you guys are the trendsetters. I don't know what you want to call it. We're game changers. That's what it is. I mean, that's awesome. Other people are trying to follow suit, but nobody provides the coverage like you guys provide the coverage. Ty, you did a great job. Cherry did a great job. I want to know real quick, though, as well, for some of the people like myself, I've never actually watched a game in Holt Arena. I've been there, but never actually watched a game there, surprisingly. Talk to us about the atmosphere and where that ranks in regards to places to, I guess, watch a football game, Ty.
I might actually pass this one on to Cherry.
Cherry, go ahead.
He was here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I walked in. I've never been to Holt Arena, and I walked in and I thought, wow, this place is sick. I think it's a pretty special place. It seems like it's a pretty high arena. It sits pretty high. I think it seems really steep in there, but there's a lot. You can fit a lot of people in there, and it was really loud. The games kind of overlapped there at the end of the Weezer Sugar game, so it was packed in there. All the fans were showing up for the Rigby Highland game, and there was a ton of people in there. It was super loud. It was pretty exciting to be there.
So loud. Okay, I want to hear that then. So Cherry, when I was funny, I had it pulled up on NFHS to try to watch the play-by-play, which don't even get me started with commentary and the lack of understanding of the game. But then I'd pull it up and I couldn't hear anything. Like, you couldn't even hear the crowd. It was like, right, is that game really exciting or not? So I'd go on to see the highlights of what you guys were putting together, and I'm like, okay, it sounds way louder from the field. So was it pretty loud in there, like the way that it was set up?
It was definitely the loudest game I've been to this season. It helps that it's indoor, I would say, but the fans traveled well from both teams, and both games that we were at, the Weezer fans traveled super well. 4.5 hours they had to drive to watch that state championship victory, but it was well worth the drive.
Yeah, those small town schools show up, dude. That's what they've got, man. Small town it's all about the sports, man. That's cool. You guys did a phenomenal job, I should say, at the coverage. Appreciate you guys doing that. For those who are following our Instagram channel, hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. And then like Cherry and Ty said, there's more coming in regards to coverage of that game. There might be some highlights that are shown, so stay tuned for what we got coming. Hats off to Rigby. Now, the bread and butter, like I said, we're getting into the basketball season, everyone. So we're super stoked about this. There's a lot of storylines coming into the basketball season for not just the SIC, but the entire state of Idaho. That's the exciting part about this. And, naturally, AJ, who started this whole entire thing of Instagram coverage, dude, for those who don't know, I interviewed AJ on my podcast a year and a half ago just over a year ago, about like what he was doing, because I thought it was so interesting, right? For those who don't know, I was actually a fan of AJ's work. I didn't even know the guy. I didn't meet AJ until last year during basketball season. I went to a Mountain View Meridian game. I never met him. I just had him on my podcast because I was always following his channel. I was like, this is rad. I don't even know how I found it, but I was randomly just found this EBC basketball page, and I'm like looking at the stories, and I'm just catching all the highlights of these games. I all of a sudden started to know everything that was going on in the SIC. I was like, what? This is awesome. I know players. Whoever this guy is, Coach AJ is what he was always saying. Hey, everyone's Coach AJ. Like, I was always watching the stuff. And I just became a fan. He set the tone for basketball, which is kind of like, and the way that we cover it. So he's the guy who started this whole entire thing. So AJ, I'm going to pass the baton over to you real quick. Talk to us about what the fans can expect for the basketball season as we tip things off here in just a couple of days. I mean, within the week.
Yeah, man. Super excited. This is the third year I've been doing it. It kind of it started itself. You know, I stopped coaching over at Eagle and just started going to games, pulled my phone out one day, and because I knew all the players, because I coached club ball, I coached at Eagle, obviously got to know all the guys, and guys started hitting me up, hey, come to our game, get some highlights of me and whatnot. And then things started kind of rolling, and I started having fun with it, doing my own rankings and all that. And then Ty hits me up and says, hey, I would love to help you with the graphics and stuff because you're like elementary school. And I was like, okay, let's see what we got. And then you obviously got to know him at an Eagle CUNA game. And we just hit it off. And he completely, as you know, Guru, he just completely changed the game for what I was doing. And then it turned into what we were doing. And I just couldn't believe how much I was missing out on. And just our different skill sets, even implementing you and now Cherry, we all have these different skill sets and personalities that I think people should really be excited about what we got going here. Football was so much fun. We learned so much. We're familiar with basketball. I think it's going to come a little bit easier. But there's going to be growing pains. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And Cherry's coming in and he's going to implement some things that we've talked on the phone a few times about, some ideas he has to kind of even upgrade what we're doing even more, kind of, you know, not just cover the games, but cover what we do, the interaction with the students, the athletes, the parents, just kind of the whole experience. And it's going to be very exciting, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. We all three of us have coached club with Premier this past spring and summer, and we've gotten to know, I mean, you guys kind of jumped on board with me. Just the relationships with the athletes is really what makes what we do really special and different. So you said just a minute ago, people were trying to mimic at the state championship game what we were doing football wise. You can't mimic what we're doing because you don't have the relationships with the athletes that we have. We are all athletes ourselves, as Cherry was saying, and we can connect there. So that's going to make us different. We have the relationships in place, and we're going to kind of show a little bit more behind the scenes with that. We've gotten to know the coaches. We have relationships there, athletic directors. It's just going to be a completely different beast. It's going to be, like you were saying earlier, it's going to be a movie, and hopefully Taylor Freeman gets healthy so he can be in this movie too. But it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited to see everybody's kind of skill set translate to basketball, because football, man, you guys all blew me away every weekend, week out. And another shout out to Cherry and BST. It was funny because I was in Salt Lake City on a little vacation before basketball season started, and I got to sit back and enjoy these two do their thing. And Ty had to be like, yo, bro, quit sharing everything Cherry's posting, because I was like, I want to be a part of it, man. This is so sick. So he had to delete some stuff that I was posting. But I went back and watched it. I was like, I need to just chill out and enjoy the ride. And it was unbelievable. So being in a gym where I'm most comfortable, you guys are both hoopers. It's going to be so much fun, man. And I think it's just going to continue to grow what we're doing. And it's going to just bring a completely different dynamic. And it's going to be off the chain, I promise.
I'm excited. We have a lot coming your guys' way. And the question that's going to be coming up, and I'll let Ty kind of give us a little bit of a rundown here, because you might have seen us on Instagram. We posted some power rankings across the state of Idaho from the 5A and the 4A, specifically in the boys. So who are we covering? Ty, can you answer that question for the listeners out there? Like, are we covering girls basketball? What are we going to be covering? What divisions? All this stuff. Is it only the SIC? Is it the whole state? What is it that we're doing?
Yeah, so it's going to be fun for us because we're going to be hitting this from all angles, right? We focus primarily SIC local football for the football season. But with our background and what we've already accomplished in the past, primarily what AJ has done, he has opened these doorways to all of the schools across, not all of them, but, we're hitting schools up north, hitting schools in the east, hitting schools in the west. So we will be doing 5A state, not just SIC. So we'll be covering statewide 5A coverage, 4A statewide coverage, and then while we get a lay of the land for the girls scene, we're going to be introducing SIC coverage for the girls. Now, as we continue to grow, we hope to hit that statewide. We hope to hit 4A as well. But, we simply haven't provided girls coverage yet. No one has. So kind of like what we had to do with football, we're going to create that landscape and, give everyone an understanding of what's going on around here locally with the girls as well as boys statewide. So we'll be hitting it from a lot of different angles. You'll be seeing different coverage for, the different levels. We'll be doing different things, having some fun with it. But ultimately, we're trying to give love to everybody. So that helps with you guys, though. You guys got to help us, right? So if you know scores or stats, get those sent in to us, and let's continue to build this thing. It starts with everybody. So all of the help is welcome.
Love that. We always love the supporters. So, if you guys have things to talk about, hit us up in the DMs. We'll chat with you guys and help us out. Like Ty said, we're here to build this whole thing together. And like Ty was also saying, I'm going to put that one down here. Since we did, so AJ mentioned earlier as well, we coached at the club level. And so on my particular team that I coach, I got a lot of the players across the whole valley. I've got guys from Caldwell, Valley View, Boise, Centennial, Eagle. It's like my whole the whole valley is covered. So you might see me from time to time. Or Ridgeview as well. So I got a Ridgeview over there. So you might see me at different games too, covering 4A, 5A, depends on which school I'm at that particular day. I want to go see some of my guys play. And so you're going to see a lot of different things. We're going to hit a ton of different schools. And it's going to be a blast. You guys are going to get to know basketball players around the state pretty dang well. So we're super, super excited about this. Now, here is the question that I have for you guys as we're going to have fun with this show for this Thanksgiving special. What are we most excited for in basketball? So I'm going to start right now. If you guys look at our power rankings, again, head over to Instagram at Idaho Underground Sports. Check it out. Listen, we've got Lake City ranked 1, Owyhee ranked 2 in the 5A level of things. And that might rub some people the wrong way. Owyhee has been making some noise. Very young team with a couple of experienced individuals. Young, super talented team, brand new school into the Treasure Valley. Football was not their strong suit. Very, very tough year for football. But basketball, they kind of knew what was happening. They hired Andy Harrington, who just won the state championship in Middleton after the first time in 40, 50 years over there. So they win a state championship. He gets hired over to Owyhee. They are coming in hot. They played all summer long together, have some seriously good talent. They were playing in the big-time tournaments in Arizona. Crazy. But Lake City's coming back with a lot of their guys returning, and they're still young. They're juniors. A lot of them are juniors. Got Blake Buchanan and crew, a lot of people coming back, and we've got some good stuff coming. So there's a lot of storylines. With that being said, I'm going to transition this over. So I'm going to start with Cherry. So Cherry, this is your opportunity to give us your insight. What are you most excited for about the basketball season, whether it's 5A, 4A, whatever? What are you most excited for in regards to coverage?
What I'm super excited for is Owyhee to beat everybody, so we can get proven right on that one. I've been hearing a lot of smack talk about where Owyhee's ranked, so I'm happy. I'm excited for them to show out and prove us right. I'm also excited to get coverage across the state. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. In the past, the only teams I've seen videos for is Eagle and Rocky. So I'm excited to see some teams up north get some coverage, some teams to the east get some coverage, and some more teams in the SIC get some coverage. And girls as well. That'll be awesome to get some girls basketball.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to be getting it everywhere. So yeah, so Cherry's excited about the Owyhee thing. So I think a lot of people are excited about Owyhee. Okay, Ty, what are you most excited for? What storyline are you excited for basketball season?
Yeah, there are so many. You guys have heard me say it probably 10 times already, but this is my main storyline for the entire season. It is called the Brody Roberry effect. Meaning, you take a dominant player like Brody Roberry out of the league, out of the 5A level. Now, there's no clear dominant big in the SIC. I compare Brody to like Shaq that can shoot, right? You just cannot possibly match up with that. So now you take that out of the equation, and the playing field is completely level, in my opinion. I mean, you got Owyhee, you got Lake City, you got Madison from the east. You know, Eagle we've kind of described as a dark horse, but ultimately it's up for the grab, and that's what I'm most excited for. This is a prove it year for just about every program in the Valley, in my opinion. Can Meridian come in and prove it after last year? How do they respond after losing Brody and losing Joe Empoyo, losing the list goes on and on. Drayson Fisher.
McKay Anderson.
Thank you.
Number
McKay.
30 can do you dirty.
I cannot think of his name. Yes, McKay, big time McKay. So for me, the biggest thing, what I'm most excited for, is to see who goes out and takes the throne, because ultimately I think it's there for the taking.
Absolutely. So AJ, you're going to have to hold off for a second, because of course I want you to give the opinion last, because you're Mr. Basketball here. I want to give my thoughts. So I'm going to echo what Cherry and Ty said in regards to everything they said. I think it's up for the grabs. And what's crazy to me, guys, is Rocky went from honest to goodness. Like, they could have competed this year. Like, we were looking at when they originally had Drew Fielder and all these guys that were going to be returning. They were actually kind of a big team. All of a sudden they went from that to they lost Fielder, and now it appears that they're going to lose some of the other bigs that they were going to have, some of the football guys, to now it's a rebuilding couple of seasons for Rocky. It's not just a rebuilding year. It's like, okay, now we're going to build this program and see where we can get now with new coaching staff and everything. So that's a storyline I'm interested to see, not necessarily to compete for a championship, but I want to see. This is like the first time Rocky's had to experience this in quite some time, actually, where they have to rebuild, because they've always been in the mix for the last at least 8 years for basketball. They've always had some really good talent there. And now it's going to be like, okay, how do they rebuild? How does this coaching staff develop this culture over here? The other thing is, it's interesting because, you know, Blake Buchanan, Ty, if you remember this last year at the state championship game, they lost to Meridian. We were talking to the Lake City guys, and Blake had mentioned that was the second year in a row he'd been in the state championship. He lost as a 4A when he played for Moscow. Then he went to Lake City, lost the championship. And so Blake has a massive chip on his shoulder up in Lake City, and he doesn't want to feel that loss again, right? They're definitely one of the front runners to make it, but can they win it? I definitely think that's going to be something to watch. Does it cause so much pressure on his shoulders that he buckles? I don't think so. I think he's battle tested. He sees what it's like to lose at both levels. That's going to be exciting. I'm also excited on the 4A level. Middleton, can they respond? They've got some serious talent, some big boys over there. Like, yeah, Andy Harrington left, but they still have some of the great talent that they had over there poised to make another run at it. Like, they've got some good guys. Like, I think Big Mike Davis is there. We got Medeiros. We've got Sawyer, if I'm not mistaken. Those are three dudes that are over 6'4", 6'5", who can hoop, and they've got some good guards. And then again, Preston. Preston is always in the run for the 4A. Like, they're always there. So who knows what they're going to do there? They have a great culture. I am so excited for basketball, guys. And like AJ was saying, basketball is like my passion. I'm a hooper. I love it. That's where I've always been around. I love football too, but basketball is where, like, I understand it. That's my therapy. And so there's so many storylines. Can Meridian get it done? Can they come back with some new blood? Like, I don't know. There's so much to go into this, and we're just excited to bring coverage to you. Now, AJ, go ahead.
Hey man, I'm excited about it all. I think people better watch out for Madison. Madison, they lost Taden King, one of the best players in the state last year. He was up for Gatorade Player of the Year. May have finished second or third there. But they got a lot of guys back, Logan Crane, Riley Sutton, Isaac Wilson, and then one of my favorite players in the state, one of the top sophomores in the state, Ike Sutton. He's gonna be a show. So if you got a chance to watch Madison, do that. Obviously, Lake City, they were in the state championship last year. They started 4 sophomores. They lost one of those guys, but brought in a new guy from Spokane, Big Nate Hawking. He can fly. Then, of course, they got 2 guys on that team who are both juniors with D1 offers, Colton Mitchell, who I think is the best guard in the state, And then you got Blake Buchanan, who's getting, he's getting looks from Virginia, Kansas, Gonzaga's coming to their practices to check him out. Like, his ceiling is crazy. So who knows what's going to happen there. But for me, Zach Johnson is their X factor. He's a human highlight reel. He may be my favorite hooper in Idaho, maybe my favorite athlete. No offense to Donovan Jones. He's my favorite football player, but Zach Johnson might be my favorite athlete. Tune into them. They're actually playing here in the Valley 6 times in the month of December. They'll be here the 16th through the 18th and then the 27th through the 29th, and they got some big-time games. They'll be in the Owyhee tournament the 16th through the 18th, and that's across the street from my house. See you there. And then they play Eagle, BK, and Meridian. And BK for us is a top 3 4A team, and they got a D1 kid, Blake Hawthorne, who's a 6'8" freak show, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. But, I mean, those are serious games. And so Lake City coming down, so many good teams. Centennial is what I'm most excited about, though. They have maybe 5 or 6 of the top 15 shooters in the state at any level. These boys can fill it up. They're going to get up and down. They're not a big team, but anybody can drop 30. They got 5 or 6 guys that can drop 30 on any night. If they catch fire, that is so dangerous. And they're very well coached. Eagle is a very big physical team in a very small league, which is something you were just talking about, Ty, the Brody Roberry effect, right? There's no big monster, but Eagle is big. They're going to go 6'7", 6'6", 6'5". Their smallest starter may be a 6'2" Division I safety, Engage the Green Grenade Jones. That might be their smallest starter on their basketball team, and he's an animal. That's going to be tough to deal with in a small league. And then, of course, I got to shout out Owyhee. Owyhee's going to have 4 freshmen at least on varsity. Liam Campbell, the transfer from Los Angeles, has already got 3 Division I looks. He may end up leading the league in scoring, unless Jack Payne or Caden Christensen have something to say about that. Jack Payne may be the best all-around player in the league. He's committed to Colorado State. That's big time. Jack Payne is special defensively, makes everybody around him better. If they can put together the leadership and mature, they're going to be unbelievable. They're going to be the most ready team to go once we start things here. Their first game is against the number 3 rated team in Utah. Utah has some serious hoopers out there. 2 years ago, Wasatch was the number 2 rated team in the country. So there's guys all over the place there. Donovan Mitchell's from there. So they got to go to American Fork and play. We're going to find out right away where they're at. I think they're going to be ready. It's a game they can win, and pay attention to them early. December 11th for me is circled on my calendar, fellas, and I think it's a game we should all go to. It's Owyhee at Centennial. That is, I already can't even sleep at night. I'm so excited for that game. So for me, there's so many storylines. Like you said, I could sit here and talk all day about it. I've already felt like I've talked too long, but I'm excited, man. A lot of hoopers. It's wide open, like Ty was saying. Guru, I mean, we're going to be covering it all. I'm going up north for a week and a half, 2 weeks after the new year. I'm going to cover up north for a couple weeks, try and get to the east at some point. But, man, let's do this.
Yeah, dude, it's super exciting around here. And one thing I remember Andy Harrington talking to me about on my podcast when I had him on the show was here. And I want to, now that season's starting, look out for this. You mentioned it, AJ, leadership. I want to know what happens when they hit the storms. Yeah, everything's flashy during the summer and everything. What if an injury happens? Hopefully it doesn't. But or what if you start like a 2 or 3 game losing streak? Who's going to step up with a relatively young team minus Jack Payne, who's kind of like the guy who's supposed to hold it all together? He's the glue. He's the upperclassman, the guy with the experience. Who's going to help them get through those storms when they really haven't experienced those? A lot of these teams at least have been playing together for a while, but with Owyhee coming in with a ton of freshmen, that's different than when you have guys that are coming up to, and it's their first year on varsity when they've been playing JV together and sophomore together, like for their lives. They've at least played together and experienced some stuff, even if it's their first year on varsity. When you got freshmen coming in, that's a whole new ball game because they never have really actually like played at this level and had to experience the storms. We call those the ups and downs, peaks and valleys of sports. So yes, they are probably the most talented team. Are arguably one of. How do they respond to adversity when it hits? Because it will hit. at some point, whether that's now district playoffs or the state playoffs. It's going to be exciting. So, but I think they have the leadership in Andy Harrington to be able to get them there. But he specifically mentioned it's going to be up to the players. They're going to have to be ready for that. So it's just all exciting stuff that I'm excited to see. So as we're getting near the end of this podcast, I do want to go through each one of us and ask, your top 2 players. So I'm going to start with Ty, then we're going to go to Cherry, and then I'll say it, and I'll let AJ cap it off with your top 2. This is going to be hard. And this is top 5A player, top 4A player that you're excited to see. It's way too hard because there's so many of them, but we're just going to say it for the sake of this podcast. We're obviously going to be talking about this week in and week out. So top 2 players, 5A1 and 4A1. Ty, let me know what you got to say.
Yeah, not to, continue talking about the same team and same player, but obviously at the 5A level, you got to look at Jack Payne. He's the difference maker for Owyhee, and he's the guy that ultimately, if they're going to compete for a state championship, he's got to be that guy. We've seen him be that guy before. Now he has to go out and prove it. So for me, the 5A player, without a doubt, is Jack Payne. He's going to be that guy in the SIC that fills that, Brody Robury role as the most dominant player. So Jack Payne for 5A, and for me, Isaac Davis from Hillcrest is my 4A pick. You might say Tyler Medeiros. Can he go back and, reigning player of the year? Can he go back and get another state championship? But for me, it's Isaac Davis at Hillcrest. I don't know a ton about their team. AJ's talked about a few of their guys. It sounds like they've got a pretty well-rounded squad that should be competing for that title. But ultimately, Isaac Davis becomes the X factor for them and really for the whole 4A level as a whole, in my opinion. I'm excited to see him play. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I've seen some nasty highlights. Only a sophomore, correct?
Yeah. And a couple D1 offers already.
Yeah, 6'6".
Yeah, 6'6"
right?
athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
we don't see that in Idaho a lot. And to me, I mean, that's next level talent right there. Excited to see him play and to see what Hillcrest does as a whole.
Cherry, what do you got, man?
All right. I want to just say I'm excited to see if Taylor Freeman can come back. I think that's going to be huge for Rigby if he can, recover quickly and start making an impact on the court. And I don't have a 4A player, but I do have a 5A girl that I'm excited to watch. That's Naya Juco. I'm pretty excited to watch her, see what she does on the court. They lost a lot of key players, so we're going to see what she can do this year.
Straight athlete, dude. That's awesome. Look at that. Cherry's bringing the mix. Okay, see, that's why we need this. We need the personality stuff here, like to keep us in line. Guys, I'll give mine. It's hard for me, but I'm gonna go back to Blake Buchanan. I'm gonna say that real quick for 5A. I am interested to see how he has improved his game. He does have a pretty well overall game. He's been putting time in the weight room. He's been putting time in the gym. I've seen it. You can see the improvement he's made in the offseason. But how does that go? How's his leadership skills? He's no longer an underclassman. He's the upperclassman that has the experience of 2 state championship losses, but he's been there. Now it's time to pull the team. Like, this is where the leadership comes in. I'm excited to see how he does as he leads alongside all the guys over at Lake City up north. I'm looking forward to Middleton. I'm not going to just beat a dead horse here, but I want to see Medeiros. I want to see that leadership. It's the same concept. I want to see the leadership at Middleton, how they respond now. They've got a target on their back. Before, they're the underdogs, haven't won for 50 years or whatever it was, so long. Now they've won. They've experienced winning. So now you have to play teams that every game is their NBA finals, essentially. Every game is their state championship because they want to take you down. You got a target on your back. It's a whole lot different when you come back with that going on. You have a little bit more pressure on your shoulders. How do you respond to that? I think they got a solid program, but I want to see how he does. So I'm excited to see him. AJ.
Hey, man, I'm going to start with Colton Mitchell at Lake City. For me, is the most lethal scorer potentially in the state. I've said this a few times in the last few months. I think Caden Christensen in the SIC is the most lethal scorer. I think if anybody's going to drop 50 in a game, it's going to be him over at Centennial. I think Liam Campbell, I'm excited to watch. But Colton Mitchell, I think, is a difference maker. He just got an offer from Idaho State. He's junior. He's ready to go. Just spent some time with him excuse me, I sound like Guru. Just spent some time with him a few weeks ago, and they're ready to go. He's cold-blooded. If you can't give him an inch, he can shoot the ball from anywhere. He can facilitate. He's got Buchanan there. He's got Zach Johnson, Nate Hawking. They're loaded. They're going to start 4 juniors and a freshman, and their 6th man is going to be a freshman. So they're young. They're going to be fun. For 4A, for me, it's Julian Bowie. Julian Bowie from Pocatello just got an offer from Boise State. He's got range to out to 35 feet, 33, 35 feet. Boy can fill it up. Watched him last year at the Middleton tournament as a freshman, 6'3", 6'4" guard, posting up seniors and juniors, stepping out, and you have to guard him everywhere. And then he's quick enough and explosive enough and physical enough to get by you and score at the rim. He got a mid-range game. Julian Bowie is legit, but look out for the best freshman in Idaho, and it's no question, care what nobody else says, and that's going to be Malik Harwell, Isaiah Harwell, younger brother of Malik Harwell. Isaiah Harwell at Century, he could be potentially the best player in that league. I think he's rated top 30 incoming freshman in the country. He's got some serious D1 looks already. I don't think he's going to be playing basketball in Idaho for more than 1 year. So if you have a chance to watch Century, go watch the 6'6" freshman, inside, outside, soft touch. He's legit. But for me, 4A is Julian Bowie. They're coming to the Owyhee tournament. Come check them out. I think they're going to end up playing Timberline, who Timberline is a dark horse, everybody. Heads up for them. Home court advantage. They got guys that can lock up. They got 6'10", AJ LeBeau, Jacob Anderson, who may be the best rebounder in the league. In a small league like we were talking, Timberline could be legit. I'm excited. But for the girls, I'm going to give a shout-out to Audrey Taylor over at Timberline. Naya is maybe the best player we've ever seen. Shout out to all the Slocum sisters, but Naya is a force. She's going to have to be special for them to win it again. But Audrey Taylor, her leadership and her ability to hoop it up over at Timberline. Timberline, I think, is going to win the whole thing. She's a beast too.
Dang, dude. We've got so many things to watch this season. That's why, if you guys can't tell by now, that's why we're excited. Okay. Before we get to the end, we have 2 more things we want to talk about. First, I'm going to let Cherry talk about the fans. We're going to touch base on the fans. So let me pull this up real quick. Take this down, I should say. Cherry, talk to us about the fans, and then we're going to wrap up with some power rankings as we wrap up this special for everybody on this Thanksgiving Day bonus, if you will. Cherry, go ahead, man.
I'm super excited to get the fans involved this year. The last couple of years have definitely changed our lifestyle. And just from my perspective in high school, I really miss being able to go to, basketball games and being in the gym with everybody and in the student section, have it rocking. I go to Rocky, so we've had a couple good teams come through since I've been there, and it was super fun. I remember my best memory was either Sticky Sneaker. I went to one, and that was pretty awesome, and never been a part of anything like that. And then we played Bora in the district championship, Rocky did, and there was a huge student section. I'm excited to bring that back, get back in the gyms. It's a awesome opportunity to be able to be around people again, and I'm pretty excited to see what the fan turnout will be.
I'm so glad you said something about that, man. This is what I'm talking about. Cherry's coming here with a different perspective. We forget about that sometimes. Last year when we were covering games, I'm just going to be real. It sucked, dude. Even when I was doing broadcasting at some of the Rocky games, and it was dead silent there. So I could hear myself talking over I had my headset on, and I'm like, yeah, with the bucket. Oh, I'm like, dude, everybody can hear me. Like, even the people on the court can hear. This is embarrassing. Like, super awkward, very difficult, probably for not only the athletes, but just like the coaches. Everything was weird. Hopefully we can get some normalcy back. That is a huge part of high school athletics, is the student sections and the fans in general. Now, we will reiterate, what we noticed in football was the parents were completely lackluster. There were a couple of games on multiple occasions. Ty has mentioned it. I've mentioned it. Get in there and get loud. Like, what are you doing? There were some very disappointing fan sections in some of those games. Yeah, they filled the stands, and then they're just sitting there like a wet blanket. Why don't we just get up and start cheering? So, like Cherry said, get the fans in there. If we're going to be able to get fans back in the stands, get loud. That's the point of it. It's exciting. So
we might have to get a fans power ranking going so we can get some more fans involved. Student section power ranking.
I'm all for that.
I got in the number 1 power ranking. I got Mountain View, and then Eagle. So
Cherry's already made his. So dope. Hey, stay tuned. We might have something coming for you. As we wrap it up, this is going to be our last topic right here, the power rankings that have come out. We put those out on our Instagram page at Idaho Underground Sports. I'm going to say it again. If you guys haven't heard me enough, say that. Let's talk about these for a couple of minutes, what we've got and what we can expect. So, AJ, your idea, I want you to start it off with us.
No, I want to talk about why we're at where we're at. I mean, obviously the season hasn't started. Football's just getting over. So like we've got Meridian at number 8. I don't think Meridian's going to be where Meridian needs to be until maybe 3 quarters into the season when guys get healthy. Still trying to figure out if Josh Christensen is going to be able to be eligible to play. If he does not, I think that affects them a lot. More on that down the road. He needs to be playing for that Meridian team for them to be at their best. But Lake City's number 1. We actually disagreed on that. I think the pressure's on Lake City. I think they should go and win it after their performance last year. Their transfer, they're really solid. Owyhee, new school, all these select guys. They've been playing together for 6 months. That's going to be fun. Those are the top 2 teams, no question. A lot of people are questioning Owyhee. Go watch them. There's no question Owyhee is maybe the most talented team in the entire state. They have 4 freshmen who are all going to play, 2 who I think are going to start, and they will put on a show. They will be probably the most entertaining team in the state, if not Lake City. So those are 1 and 2. Madison is a team that can beat anybody with Ike Sutton at the point guard and all these pieces, all these guys back from last year. All those athletes are tough kids, physical. Logan Crane, the wide receiver for Madison, is an absolute baller. I mean, it's going to be fun. I think, like you said, Guru, it's a little top heavy. I think the top 3, and then there's a gap. And then, we talk about Eagle and their size, and then Gage and Donovan Jones need to get ready after this football season. That takes a little while. Coeur d'Alene for me is a question mark. They've got Stephen Burgess, Cameron Cope. Those guys can play, but I think there's going to be such a big gap up north that a lot of people are going to question Coeur d'Alene and Lewiston, but both those teams can play. Lewiston's got Jace McArcher and Mr. Hepburn as well, 2 big-time football players. Centennial, Meridian, Mountain View, I think is going to be underrated. Rigby. Boise's a bunch of juniors, all ties guys. BST's boys are over there at Boise, bunch of juniors, and then their leader, Corey Cadwell, one of the best soccer players in the state. They almost won a state championship this year in soccer. His leadership is going to be important with all these juniors. Boise at BK this Saturday at 3 o'clock. I will be there. That is going to be a game. We got a top 12 5A team against a top 3 4A team. First game of the year, and then 3 hours later, we got Middleton at Bora. Bora is going to be down. Ray Bergeson left, but Middleton is going to be in action at maybe one of the toughest places to win in the state at Bora. That's at 6 o'clock. I'm probably going to double dip and hit both of those. But as for the 5A rankings, man, it's going to look a lot different, I think, after the first couple weeks. But it's going to also look a lot different once all these football guys get healthy towards the end of the year, because Meridian, for me, is a team that I do not want to see towards the end of the year if they get healthy. They're going to be physical. Jeff Sanor, fresh off a state championship. Austin Ramos, the transfer from Ridgeview, may be one of the best guards in the state. We're going to find out. He just got his first college offer. And then 4A is going to be crazy as well. I think also very top-heavy, the top 5-6 teams. And then there's a big gap. Middleton, Hillcrest, BK are 3 very dangerous 4A teams. And then you go Preston and Pocatello, who are both very, very, very good as well. I think the top 5. And then you go Valley View, Century, who has the freshman. Those 2 teams will be a problem as well to deal with. But Valley View plays at Centennial December 2nd. Hit that game up. Valley View, I think, has got the best guard in the 4A, SIC, in Jacob Martinez. But our power rankings, like I said, it was tough for us to come up with these. But what we can agree on is there's a bunch of hoopers, and it's wide open on both sides.
So if you guys haven't been able to tell by now, AJ likes basketball, and he does his research on basketball. He knows the dates on basketball. So I think you'd be hard-pressed to try to find another person in the entire state of Idaho, any journalist for that matter, who knows it as in-depth as AJ. So I'm going to say, period. Like, there's a difference. AJ said it, so I'll echo it. You can try to mimic what we're doing. That's awesome. It's the best form of, what is it? The best form of flattery is what is it? Like your impersonation?
Mimicry.
Yeah, imitate. Yeah, there you go. See, I need somebody to like help me out. I'm a communication major and I can't even use that properly. Here you do. We got the insight that nobody else has. We got AJ who knows everything about the basketball season and it hasn't even started yet. He's got dates set up on his calendar. Okay. That's how important it is. So we're excited for it. Basketball is coming your way. Okay. Cherry and EBC this Saturday. You guys are going to be at that game. Is that what you're saying? So both of you will be there?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna go to that Boise at BK game for sure. Went to a BK game last year, had a great time, incredible environment. Then I'm gonna try to get over and watch Middleton and Bora if possible. But yeah, man. And if BST, you got nothing going on, bro. Life is more fun with you in it.
I'll be there.
Cool thing that I didn't get invited in any of that. So as you guys just saw that here on the show,
I thought that was a given. That was a given.
We mentioned everybody's names, and I thought that was a given, and then my name didn't come up. Ohio State plays Michigan this Saturday, so depending on what happens in that game will determine what the rest of my weekend looks like and what next week looks like for me as well in regards to my production at work. So there we go. One of my best friends coaches at BK, so I'm actually excited to see them. I may be interested in going to that game, by the way, so I will keep you guys posted on that. For everybody out there, as we're wrapping this up, I want to make sure you guys are following us. So as you guys know, Ty runs Boise Sports Talk. Go to his channel. Check him out. All of his content that he's covering around the Valley, amazing. He does a great job. I mean, we've talked about it before. He's got rugby, volleyball, soccer, basketball, both, everything. Boise State College of Idaho. If you want to know what's going on in sports outside of just Boise State football here in the Valley, guess what? Go to Boise Sports Talk. EBC Media. Guys, AJ's got the basketball content and the connections around everywhere. He's always got the flair, the flames, everything. He's got his merch. He's all about that. He's all about the colors. AJ's got it down. So go check out EBC Media. He's got his thing. If you guys are interested in listening to a podcast, come follow me on Gametime Guru. This week on my show, I'm actually interviewing a player development coach that has a lot of good insight for young athletes, especially basketball players, because he played at Robert Morris University and he trains professional athletes as well as collegiate athletes right now. So he actually has a lot of good insight for what people should be doing. So I'd actually say tune into that one. It's actually really important for especially the young hoopers that are trying to make it to the next level. He's a 5'6" dude who made it to the D1 level, which is not very common to make it to the D1 level at 5'6", $140. So anyways, check that out. And like you guys know, we said it earlier, I'm going to roll it across the bottom. Cherry Filmz, the latest edition. There we go. Hey,
it's cherry season.
It's cherry season.
I picked something up for Ty because I felt like he deserved it. All the hard work he put in, he grinded. He was the only one, obviously, besides Cherry, who's our newest member. But of the OGs, he's the only one that traveled to the state championship game. And, of course, he won the pick'em, so I got him something. It's for my guy. Congratulations. But you're going to be picking me one up after basketball season, my guy. So
yeah, you wish, buddy. I'm going to double up. Let's go.
Okay, bro. Hey, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to put your name right here. I'm going to get it engraved. BST Season 1. It's for you, baby.
Let's go.
Hey,
love it.
Don't worry. My name will I'll be the quiet one in the background.
The quiet one.
Speaking in the back. Yeah.
The quiet one can't be talking.
Dude. Guess what? You just wait and see. When that trophy's in with my name, we'll have a full episode just on that. Guys, we are the Idaho Underground Sports Network. This is Gym Session. We're excited to bring you the content. Excited that you guys are here. Stay tuned for more stuff coming, and we'll talk to you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.